Hey guys, T2RX6 here, back right before the video, and I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about this video. Overall, I'm not terribly happy with the end result of this video, and it's because I think I had some, well, first off, it's not my toy, it's being loaned to me by my buddy Robert D, and then he wants me to pass it off to Skullface this weekend, so I only had like a couple days to actually mess around with this guy, and you know, get this review filmed. And my assumptions on this was, I've always heard that this guy is the Megatron to have to transform back and forth, and there is some really smart pieces, like the way this works, I love that. I don't mind it so much here. It could be a little bit looser, and the same goes for the top. X-Transbots does have a couple quality issues though. For instance, this piece here, which should have a pin, as you can see right here, and it didn't have a pin. And if you saw my DX9, did I say X-Transbots? I meant DX9. But if you saw my DX9 carrier review, I had the same problem with him, that, you know, he's missing a pin on this, and it works. It still works fine. You just have to hold it. And I think that part of his transformation is really cool. But there is a huge oversight here, and probably the part that really frustrated me the most with this video is the way the chest transforms. Now, of this whole figure, I think this 2 inches is the best of any of the Megatrons out there. Best head sculpt, best chest. It kind of falls apart from there. Now, I wanted to show this because it was frustrating, and it's a source of frustration, especially when we go back to the robot mode. And I wanted to show you why. So this piece has to rotate around like this, and these should be like, they got like a little slider on it here, but can you see, like, the back of his chest ends up getting caught on this thing, so it doesn't matter if it slides around, like, Megatron's chest just ends up getting stuck, so you have to end up rotating this down while, like, at the same time applying a torque on this to just get it past on both sides here. And that's just to get it down into position here. So once you've got it past like that, then this can keep going downwards and around, and eventually you'll see that you have this all squared away just like that. But it's so frustrating here, like, any of the fun parts that is made with these is completely lost when it comes to this bit of material. I don't know if, because of the aesthetic choices they made, they had to cut it this way, and I don't feel like that's the case, because in robot mode you have these big wide open gaps. Like, if you're gonna have these wide open gaps and he's not gonna be perfect, then this shouldn't be an issue. Like, it's virtually impossible from here to start getting it back there. And maybe if it's a looser tolerance piece, maybe it would work better. But for instance, I saw Pia's, and his seemed to rotate a lot more freely than this one does. But then you get to a point, and once again, it gets stuck here. I don't know. So some of the issues that I have with this guy could be, it's possible that they're tolerance issues, but there's definitely some design flaws with this chest, and it's a source of frustration to me. And it may negatively affect some of the things I see with this figure, but I still don't think that this one's very fun to transform, even having an extra few days after the initial filming to really mess around with him even more. He's still not very fun to transform. So anyway, sorry for the ramble before the review. Let's get on to the review. What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the DX9 Mightron. This is their take on Megatron, and yeah, he's really nice looking from the front. I mean, of all the companies, Apollyon, or X-Transbots is Apollyon, Make Toys, Despotron, and then Mightron here. This is the most G1 Megatron. in my opinion. It doesn't get much better than this. Now, I do think it's weird they gave a little purple cap here instead of the orange cap. I don't think DX9 necessarily understands the purpose of the cap. But yeah, it's easily removed, so that's good. He also comes with a mace. We're not going to really look at it in too much detail. It's got a nice metal chain painted purple with translucent ends. Nothing wrong with that. He comes with this little like pole here, which can extend out like this, and then he's also got this like energon sword, which you can then take and put into this pole to kind of give him a big, you know, spear type thing. I suppose, let's see, it looks like we actually can move some of this stuff. I'm not sure how it moves, but it looks like it does. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure. There we go. I guess they're talking to do something kind of like this. We can make a scythe with it. It's cool. It's unnecessary, but whatever. Unnecessary accessories are things that can be fun to mess around with, right? I would never use it, but it's okay. One thing that I think this Mightron kills all the rest of them on, the fusion cannon. Like, okay, let's slide this off here. This fusion cannon is nice and small. I mean, it extends out so it's bigger, but it just looks so good compressed. It does have an LED feature here, which this one does have batteries in it. I don't know if Robert installed them or if they were installed from the factory, but it doesn't work right now, and I don't know if that's just that it's burnt out or the batteries aren't working. I don't have spare batteries to check it. It could be that this doesn't work. Also, I did want to say a big shout out to Robert D again for letting me check this out. This one is particularly interesting to me with the Apollyon, Despotron, Mightron going on. Now there's a lot of sloppiness going on with this gun here. You can see it's kind of scratched up and dry brushed wrong. And like, this is not just paint on there, like this is actual like texture inside the gun. So I'm not really sure what happened with the fusion cannon, but it looks nice. And one thing I wanted to point out here, because I think mine might be using something like this, you can actually kind of slide it in place on your Despotron if you really want. It's obviously not meant to, but yeah, I wouldn't mind getting one of these cannons just to see if I could figure out a way to really make it work with the my Despotron, because I just hate how big this one is. So while we have it out here, let's actually bring this out and let's bring our Despotron on in. The Make Toys are, the DX9 one stands a little bit taller than the Make Toys one. Mostly it's the way the head is shaped. Yeah. From the front, I love this one compared to this one, if I'm completely honest. This is so much more stylized. This one just really feels like Megatron. Oh, and one thing I forgot to point out in the Despotron review, it was pointed out to me, you can actually turn his barrel so it does face the right way and it hides the screw and all that stuff, which is nice. Very much appreciated. But that's a better G1 Megatron if you're looking for the cartoon accuracy. Unfortunately, it's when you get to the side where it kind of falls apart, because you have all these hollows here, all this mess on the back. I really am not a big fan of how far forward the knees sit. It doesn't feel like it works right, whereas like this one from the side kind of feels more like, I guess, a boot to me. Yeah, it's not bad from the side, but you have to understand that you're going to get these big hollows here that are a big turnoff to some. And the back kibble, it's not as bad as some of the pictures look, but it definitely doesn't clean up as nice as Despotron. He also comes with an alternate face that you're going to need your Hale Hasbro tool here to get out, and you just kind of jab your knife in underneath his face, and you apply some pressure. And it should pop off there, and we can have a real awkward looking Megatron. And you can put the sneering face on. I personally like the more stoic look for Megatron, but I don't think that looks bad. I do believe it looks better than the Make Toys variant, though they really should have added a little black to the mouth to really bring out that scowl. So, one other thing pointed out to me in my Despotron review is that I have been using a KO Masterpiece Optimus Prime because my legitimate one, the original one, broke and it cost me quite a bit to replace him. So I don't tend to use my official MP10 for size comparisons anymore. I figure easier to replace a KO. And the KO is actually a little bit taller than the regular MP10 and I forgot all about it. So here is our new size stand-in. Here's our Year of the Horse Optimus Prime here, who is appropriately sized for MP10. So you can see these Megatrons, both the Mightron and the Despotron, actually do stand taller than your Masterpiece Optimus Prime. There's not much of a difference, but there is a difference just to be aware of. So let's talk articulation on this guy. His head is on a up and down swivel, and then like the mushroom peg down here, swivel. The arms here, you get not a complete range of motion on the side to side. You have to kind of cheat it, but it works for the most part. Ratcheted here for a 360. I have seen you can do the fusion cannon thing, but you do have to cheat the arm a bit, which does make this end up looking pretty bad in my opinion. So you can't get that real pose of Megatron aiming his fusion cannon for your demise. I suppose we could kind of cheat it a little more so we don't see so much of that. It's hard to do to make that work. Down to the waist, let's see, does he have it? Despotron was scary. It doesn't look like he has any. Is it? There it is. It's below his skirt down here. Not necessarily ideal in my opinion. The skirt is on one hinge here, so you couldn't hinge one part of it forward for the leg. That's not so great either. The leg, as you can hear, ratcheted. That's just fine. Ratcheted this way too. Looks like we have the thigh swivel and the knee joint coming down to the leg. We have that swivel and then the rocker forward and back. So decent articulation, but kind of the way some of the things are jointed and the big hollows he has, he's kind of better in that stoic look than he is in any other pose. And before we go on, I did want to point out, like this part here, it does fold down. I have this tendency of bumping it back up in place. It should be folded down. So if that was there and driving you crazy and I didn't notice it, I apologize. It should have been like that. Now, there's also some die cast on this guy, but it's on the barrel, which I find to be a little strange because it does make him back heavy. I don't feel any down here on the feet or in the thigh, so it's kind of a weird placement of die cast if you ask me. They really should have put it somewhere else. Because he does have this tendency to want to be a little back heavy, which he supports his weight just fine. Like he really doesn't, feel like he's going to tip backwards or anything. But it's just something that I think they should have put somewhere else. Actually, I think this piece down here might also be die cast. It feels a little cold compared to everything else. Robert described this guy as kind of like a cardboard cutout in a ghost town. Like he looks great from the front, but from almost any other angle, he's not so great. I agree and I disagree. Like, when it comes to posing this guy, yeah, absolutely. He's the ghost of your cardboard cutout town. Like this, we can make him look pretty great. But then as soon as you start going like this, it gets a little bit ugly. But I don't think he's necessarily the worst Megatron I've ever seen, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not sure where I feel him versus Apollyon. I can say he feels a lot cleaner and more fun to manipulate than Apollyon because at least all his kibble is contained to the back as opposed to all over his leg. Okay, so we're going to attempt to transform Mightron here into his gun mode. And I'm going to say attempt because we've tried this once before and somewhere along the way we catastrophically failed and I couldn't figure out how to finish the transformation. So we're going to start with the hands here. They are a hassle. You take his little finger and you kind of put it like this, and then it needs to clip into his own palm like that, and then all this stuff kind of folds in like so. Once we have that, we can open this panel here. We can rotate his fist so it's like this, and then this goes in here snugly and closes. Now he does have a couple things that I think are really innovative with the transformation, and he has a lot of stuff that I don't like. And he's supposed to be, from my understanding, he was supposed to be the one that's quote unquote easier to transform, the one that's more fun to go back and forth, and that just doesn't seem to be the case. When you can get to a point that you can't get things to work right anymore, I don't think that that's a good transformation. So anyway, we got that, okay? The arms here, they do an interesting thing in that they kind of have this way of folding this to the side, and then this folds up and in, and we just lost that top piece here. It's on just a ball joint, no big deal that it came off, but you can see, you know, the first thing that I'm talking about here, that it's fighting for space with the other pieces. It was really weird on this one. I don't even know if we're gonna show this. Like, see, this is not right. This is not how this is supposed to work. It's missing a pin here, which is something that I've seen be a problem with DX9, because that was all supposed to just kind of fold in like this. And I don't know. It's very difficult to get this thing to work right. From here, we take this piece, and see, this shows you how it was supposed to go. It's supposed to kind of fold up just like that, and then we can compress this. So let me show you that again. On this side, you can see it doesn't quite fit right. This all works together, 4-bar linkage, and goes in. That's smart. I like that. But it kind of ends there. This piece comes down. These red pieces go up. They tell you to make a sad Megatron. You should probably open this up and rotate this forward a little, and you can see how these ab pieces are kind of coming in. Take this, disconnect all of this stuff, bring the barrel so it's straight down like this. That's going to get that extra range of motion you need. And we want to make sure we have the trigger guard the right way. That's important. And let's fold this up, because this is where it failed for me. And yeah, I think we want to bring his feet around this way, which is not something that seemed to be clearly outlined. And now we can take the head, we can fold this in, and then you want to make these red pieces come all the way around. And it just doesn't seem to work right. Like, there we go. We got that. And with our head in, this should be able to close up this chest cavity here. It should be able to. There we go. Just like that. So we kind of have this thing going on, and I think that this red piece should be further back based on how it sits in that channel. But you can't really manipulate these very well. So anyway, we've got this. We got most of this arm stuff done. Take these silver bits here, and they come up and connect together. I think they might be die cast. I'm not really sure. Can't tell. So we got this going on. And see, like, it's not making sense to me. How can this trigger be facing this way? I think that throws off everything that I'm trying to figure out here. Anyway, so with his feet facing forward and all this stuff facing back, they want us to, and I don't know if I necessarily understand this either. They want us to make it so, like, the barrel, like this part here, maybe goes like this, but that doesn't feel right either. I guess like that looks like it's kind of working. Uh-oh, I think our trigger just went to the right direction. That makes me real excited, because somewhere along the way with this step is where I got messed up last time I tried to do this for this review. So we can take this piece here, and we can close the barrel. There should be a tab here, but it's die cast, and the way this works, it never slides in. You're always doing it on a torque direction, so you're putting stress on it the first time you closed it, and stress on it the first time you open it, and that's why this one is broken. And I suspect pretty much every single one of them out there risks breaking, because you need to pull from a peg sideways, not this angled thing. It's terrible. That's bad design choice there. Okay, I think we're doing good. We can fold this thing up now. That's looking right. I can see the gun coming together now. I couldn't see the gun coming together last time. So take this, fold this thing up with this all flat like so. And see, now we have another problem here. Oh, no we don't. I'm sorry. I forgot to open up these guys here, which are going to let this come together like this, and that's going to fold up like that. That should allow us to let all this thing go flat now, and we can clip the two halves of the gun together. Once this is together, you can push this, and it needs to have this black piece in place, because you can see those pieces come right through here. There we go. I got to this part last time and we stalled because the trigger was still facing the other direction and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Okay, so now that we've got this, we can come down to the feet. You're gonna unplug the side of the foot here and rotate it in, and then rotate the heel spur. So unplug, rotate it in, heel spur. Take this piece here, collapse it on up in there. There's plenty of gap at the front, but you'll know it's right when it meets that. And you can close this part of the hand guard here. Close it like that. And now, once again, well, we want to bring these little tab pieces down, which I realized I had them wrong. The first time, there should have been a cross. And now using that trick they love, we're going to bring that in like this and separate the thighs like this, so we can make him a skinny little guy there. So you should have this in place like this. From here, I suspect we want to rotate this in such a way that we can flip the front around, which is something that the instructions don't seem to tell us before, so it's probably helpful to do that a little earlier than I did. This piece here, I believe, should have been flat, so you may have to disconnect this here so we can make that happen. There we go. We got this out of the way. Let's try to focus on making this hip skirt flat. There we go. Instructions are not very great. So that should let us do what we need to, I'm hoping. We're going to take this again and slide it back through here. So once we have our legs like that, these pieces rotate back to bring the handle both together and flatten it all down. We should now be able to flip those hip skirts down. Whoops, that was our Despotron just falling over on the desk. All this stuff will collapse down. And before we do that though, we should bring this. This is not fun. Hold on, guys. Okay, so before we collapse this, we wanted to bring the handle guard here. And now, let's see. Maybe we want to make sure we have all this done too ahead of time. This rotates down. This rotates in. Like so. Down. Like you can just get to these parts where things just feel like they don't want to do what they're supposed to. But there we go. Now this pegs into the trigger guard here. And the barrel floats around because it's broken. There we go. Now we can take this, and it's a gun. And it is not as obnoxiously large as Despotron, but it's definitely not as easy to transform either. Yeah. And these are in the way, and I don't know if they're supposed to be. Maybe, there we go. Forgot a piece. They should fold down like that. That's much nicer. It's a decent gun. I don't mind it. The transformation's not fun. It wasn't fun to get here. We can go and take this, slide this in place, and extend out the scope. That works just fine. I mean, it works. It's just, like, it has a lot of, like, interesting little details to actually go to gun mode, but it's not fun to get there. Despotron is way more fun to do than this guy is. Nice little details here, though. But without dwelling too much on the transformation to gun mode, once it's here, it's got some nice detailing. We got the little strap detail down here, or, well, the holder for the strap. I do like that you have some added pieces of articulation here. The trigger looks like it's just fine. This again is a big problem that this does not secure in based on that peg shearing, and that's just a poor design choice on their part. If you get this guy, do not transform him to his gun mode and try to transform him back, because I cannot see how this is going to actually ever work as intended. And it has nothing to do with this being die cast and this being plastic. It has everything to do that this piece out here should have had some kind of piece that like slid out. So once this was sideways, you then pushed it in to secure it to the peg. That's really bad. But it's a gun, and it works. So let's get him back to his robot mode and let's get out of here. We're gonna start compress this and remove it, making sure we're going the right way so we actually can get this off. And see, even that doesn't even want to work for us properly. Gosh, that is terrible. Like, why is this little tab here on the top stopping us from putting this on? They don't tell us to put this on until the end, and it keeps us from being able to put it on properly. I mean, you could put it on backwards just fine, but now your scope's backwards. Like, come on. This is terrible, terrible decision to make it this way. The design aspects of this guy plague him. Plague him. He'd be great if it wasn't for that, but like the way things need to move and stuff, it's so frustrating. Anyway, we're gonna start by expanding the legs. We can go ahead and split those legs down here. We're gonna unpeg these little side pieces here, which is really frustrating, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it with the knife because you can't barely get your hands in there. See, look at that. What kind of design choice was that? You know, though, I did complain that I wish these were on ball joints on Despotron, so, you know, there's the problem. But it doesn't, like, none of this stuff is easy to get out of the way. There we go. We'll take that and we'll just leave that like that for now. Take these pieces, they fold up into here. And by doing that, it should let us take his thighs apart here. And put them back together on each side. Just like so. And you know, I do believe step 1 of our instructions really should have been spin him at the waist, just like that. I mean, that would have solved a whole bunch of problems that I personally had on this. Anyway, open up the back of the handle here, if you can. There we go. On both sides too. Oh, I forgot to mention he does have the attachment stuff to actually put like the stock on, but he doesn't have any of that stuff. So take this, collapse it. Well, actually, let's pull his foot down first, and then we can try to collapse it. There we go. Come on. There we go. Take his foot, rotate the side of it out, rotate this around the back heel spur. So here we go again. Side of his foot, rotate it around heel spur. Once we've got this, we can kind of, I guess, take these and fold them here. Disconnect this thing by pulling it up through this black piece. Not the way I really have wanted it to go. This will allow that to get out of the way, and we can fold down his little crotch piece here. And we'll go ahead and fold these down and out of the way at this point. How frustrating all that is. And now, this is what I don't get. This trigger is facing the wrong way again. Like, I mean, it's the right way for the gun. But last time I did this, it was facing in here. Is it all? Let me see. There we go. Okay. So now I'm understanding why the trigger was frustrating me. It's because we turned the barrel the wrong way the first time I transformed it. And because the way the trigger works, this all kind of gets held up here like this. And this should be flipped down like that for now. Now it's all clear why the trigger didn't seem to be going the right way, because I wasn't turning it the right way for the instructions. So, I don't know. I do take blame on that I didn't do it right, but on the same time, like, the instructions were not terribly clear, to me at least, which way I was supposed to be flipping this thing. So anyway, we got that. Let's go ahead and separate this. That's his arms, of course. We're going to take this piece here, open up the head piece, open up this back piece, and then this part is terribly, terribly frustrating with the cannon out of the way. You have to rotate, and I don't even know what's necessarily the best way to do this, because these pieces here have to rotate around while the front of Megatron is slowly looking more and more depressed, basically. This part doesn't work. My hands are killing me at this point. Oh man. I'm ready to be done with this review. Robert, I'm glad you ended up getting Despotron too, because this is just not a fun toy to mess around with. How are you supposed to flip these red things while also at the same time getting these things to work? Like it just doesn't work that way for me. Alright guys, I gotta get this off the screen for a second. The only way I could do it was to take it off the screen, hold this, push from the back, and kind of jam my finger in there to get it to start rotating, while at the same time using my other hand to bring this chest piece down. And I really have no better way to show you that, but kind of like inching it along like that. That sucks. That's awful. Anyway, whatever. We got that done. You can see this piece here slides on here. This is a good time to check it, because if it doesn't slide right, he looks terrible. So yeah, make sure you have that done. And then go ahead and get your tool and pop these things down, which to me feels entirely unnecessary. There we go. Does that look better to you? It doesn't look better to me. In fact, we're just not going to do it. We're just going to leave them just like this. Yep. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just put it back down. This toy is seriously frustrating me. There we go. That's how they wanted it. So now, make sure that we got our barrel behind the arms here. And this whole thing kind of folds up and around. So you have it like this, and then, oops, I forgot this piece. Again, another, and I say this is die cast because the tolerances seem way too tight on this piece here. I just scraped the hell out of that one, because you can't separate it. You can't get a nail in there. Like, that's the best I can get, and then I need the knife to do that. And then you saw what it just did to it. Yeah, like, this was a terrible place to use die cast. There was no reason for it other than we wanted to, you know? So take this, it folds up into here like this. Oh, thank God it's almost over at this point. Said both the reviewer and the watchers. Fold that down. Fold it up. Fold this up. Fold this to the side however it makes you happy. Take his arm, extend it out, take this piece, 4-bar linkage it in this direction. There we go. Open this up. Use your knife to pop his finger out here, because if you don't, there's no way you're getting his hand out of here. Close that up. Come along to this side, flip it forward. Again, there's a little linkage trick here. Flatten that out. Last hand, pull this apart. It's killing me. Flip this thing down. Flip that. There we go. Open this up. rip his hand out of the socket there. Let's give him his majestic fusion cannon, because that's the best thing he's got going on for him. Rotate this piece. Use our messed up linkage here, because, like I said, part of this one's not pinned. Well played, DX9. And this isn't the first time DX9 is not pinned. I don't know if you guys remember my, what's his name, Carrie. He's missing a pin too. Quality control, guys. There he is. There's DX9 Megatron. If you like the looks of him and you say, oh, he's the most G1, I don't care about all this stuff, get him, take him out of the box, and leave him like this, because even Apollyon is more fun to transform than the Make Toys one, or I'm sorry, the DX9 one. The Make Toys one, stylized. If you don't like the stylized look of him, and I can understand that, I can get behind that. Still a better transformation to gun than this guy. So if you want to transform and play with it, get him. Second, go for Apollyon, but I don't recommend Apollyon that much for transformation. If you want to go for the G1 look from the front, this guy from, I don't know where Apollyon would fit on that one, but this guy's biggest benefit is how he looks from the front. There is no better G1 looking Megatron from this angle than him. And that is where my recommendation ends for him. Oh, I forgot these. Sorry about that. Now he's back in his robot mode. This is T2RX6. I hate this toy. I would never buy it for myself. I almost did, but thank God Robert sent it to me. And I'm glad I decided at the last second to go with this one, even though he's more stylized and I really prefer the G1 look. Way more fun of a toy than this one is. So, this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'm going to go and give my hands a break because they are so sore, and I'll see you next time.